What is up, guys? Ryan here. So today we are going to be doing another video on my car. This is going to be the 40,000 mile update, as it just rolled over a couple of days ago, and I haven't made a video on it in a while, and I have a couple of things to talk about. So here we are. So of course, again, like I said, just rolled over 40K. I've done a couple of things, namely I've moved to Texas, so I mean, hello, I guess. And so that's kind of why I've been gone on my YouTube channel for a while, just kind of dealing with life stuff. And it's been raining on and off today, but the sky actually looks kind of decent right now, so I'm just trying to get this video out before it starts raining again. And here we are. So first thing I want to talk about is some exterior stuff. Of course, you don't really see anything, and that's because, well, the things I did you won't really notice. But anyhow, I changed the headlights and the taillights on the car. Now, originally I was just running the H9 halogen mod, of course, which you can do for this car. So normally from the factory it comes with H11s, which are, you know, standard halogen bulbs. But there's also another halogen bulb, the H9, which is a little bit brighter, uses pretty much the same connector, and yeah, it's a cheap upgrade basically, and it's all you have to do to make it fit is just file down one of the connectors, and it's completely safe to do in a projector housing. You don't want to do that on a reflector. But yeah, so I was running that for quite a while, pretty much since I ever got the car. But the issue with that is the bulbs kept, you know, failing. Of course, those bulbs only have like a 150 to 250 hour life, and I drive a lot, and so I was replacing a bulb maybe every 6 months, which kind of got annoying. I do apologize for the wind noise in advance, by the way. But anyhow, I went ahead and got a pair of LED bulbs from my friend, and I normally wouldn't have chosen LEDs, but I decided to just because they were free, and so it's really that simple. So for this, I will go ahead and just turn on the headlights real quick, just so I can show you. And you know, normally I wouldn't pick LEDs, especially because the car didn't come with them from factory, but again, they were free, and I've actually been pretty impressed with their performance. So there you go, you can see with them on. The cutoff is actually pretty decent. A lot of people complain about glare outside the cutoff point with LEDs, but these are actually pretty darn good, and they do have, these ones in specific have some adjustability in which you can change the angle of the light to kind of make the adjust the what do you call it, the cutoff better. And so that's what I did. Of course it timed out because, you know, that's how my car is. But yeah, so I'm pretty decently happy with those actually. Again, they were free, and I'm just kind of rolling with them at this point. So yeah, in addition to that, I also changed out the tail lights, or I guess the brake lights. I went ahead and made them LEDs also. And let me see if I can get those to turn back on. Obviously, you would actually, just kidding, you won't see them because, you know, I can't push the brake. But anyhow, I did go ahead and do that too. I just kind of like the LED look overall. I mean, now I guess the only LEDs, the only lights on the car that aren't LEDs are like the turn signals and stuff, but the reverse lights, the interior lights, the plate lights, everything are now all LEDs. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's about it in the lighting department. Just wanted to get that out of the way. The next thing I did is I went ahead and kind of worked on my rear fitment a little bit. Of course, I bought these wheels and I was stock height on my last car, which is a 2013 Accord, and I had no intentions of ever lowering it. But with this one, once I lowered it, obviously the wheels kind of sunk in because that's what they do. So anyhow, I contacted a friend of mine, or I guess a friend of a friend, and I went ahead and rolled my rear fenders. So of course I was kind of worried about the wheel rubbing after lowering it, because I did lower the rear end just a little bit more, I believe about a 1/4 inch, and so I was a little worried about it rubbing, and so I had a friend of mine go ahead and roll my fenders just so there was no possibility of that happening. Even though these wheels are not aggressive at all, I did it just kind of because in the future, if I do want to get a new set of wheels that are a little bit more flush with the fenders, I can do that and I won't have to worry about if it's going to rub or not. So that's pretty cool. So I did that. I lowered the rear another 1/4 inch just to kind of give it a little bit more evenness. Of course, the ground isn't completely flat here, so that's kind of why the rear end looks a little bit lower. But yeah, I think it makes it a little bit nicer. Of course, I had the the rear of, originally I had the rear about a ½ inch higher in the back, which is not something I preferred. So went ahead and changed that around. I think the car looks pretty decent the way it is now. And I also added some spacers to the rear. I didn't want to go too big, and I kind of wish I could have, but I could only go with a 5mm, and that's that little silver ring there. Just again, that's pretty much all I could do with the setup I have, because these wheels don't have pockets in the back, so I couldn't run a larger like bolt-on spacer, and I didn't want to go extended lugs or extended studs, so couldn't do that either. But you know, I mean, that's pretty much all I can do with these wheels, so I'd have to go ahead and get something a little bit more aggressive if I want to have any better fitment than this. But I think it looks pretty good the way it is, honestly, and yeah, that's the way it's gonna stay for now. So that's honestly about it for the exterior stuff. So I will go ahead and go into the interior, and we'll talk about one thing I did in there. And that's pretty much it for this video, honestly. But of course, as you can see, it looks pretty much the same. It's not like super exciting or anything. The only thing I redid on the interior was I went ahead and rewrapped the interior piece right here for the center console, because the original job I did, I wasn't too experienced, and so it kind of started peeling and bubbling and just looking like crap. So I had talked to a friend of mine who actually, you know, is good at wrapping vinyl. He gave me some tips, and as you can see, even in the Texas heat, the vinyl wrap is holding up just fine, whereas the previous one was like bubbling up here and that kind of stuff. So that's not exactly ideal. But yeah, that's pretty much the only interior thing I've changed. Everything else is about the same from the last time I made a video. And I forgot to mention this in the 30K update, but of course I have the here, I can actually go ahead and demonstrate for you guys real quick. But I have the interior lights, or the footwell lights, which you might be able to tell. I went and got those from AutoZone, but I did that like before I made the last video on my car at 30,000 miles, but I never was able to mention that. So that's about it for all the exterior stuff. The other two things I want to talk about is actually something that broke on the car recently, and yeah, so the only thing that's broken on this car in the past 40,000 miles is the passenger side daytime running light bulb. And yeah, so the common issue for this car is the daytime running lights. And so actually only about a couple weeks ago, my passenger side one went out, and so I had to have that replaced. Of course, I was able to score a job here in Houston at a Honda dealer, so it was not an inconvenience at all. I was pretty much already at work when it happened. They had the new headlight in stock, and they replaced it. Now, previously, Honda didn't have a warranty on this. They were kind of just telling people, you know, you got to buy a whole new headlight assembly because the LEDs aren't replaceable separately. And so people were paying, you know, $500–700 or more to buy a new headlight housing, which would ultimately just fail again. But I believe someone sued them, and so they now have a 10-year unlimited mileage warranty on just the DRLs. And so, you know, if I continue to have this problem, I can keep getting new headlights for the next 10 years. So that's pretty decent. And this, just wanted to mention that this problem only affects the 16 and 17 model year Accords. So yeah, that's the only thing that's broke on the car. And I think that's, you know, a testament to how reliable Hondas are. I mean, even though 40,000 miles isn't a lot, I hope it continues to be that way. And so that is about it. I can go ahead and go into the interior. I'll go ahead and start it up, and we can talk about like some maintenance things I've done in the meantime. But yeah, let's go and do that real quick. So there we go. As you can see, we are now at 40,154 miles. I've put a lot of miles on this car. I've only owned it for 18 months exactly, and when I bought it, it had 244 miles on it. So of course I drove it to Texas 3 times, and you know, a bunch of other road trips. So I'm planning on just taking this car to probably 300,000 miles. That's my goal. I mean, there's really no other car that I want at the moment. Like, a lot of cars coming out now that I like, you know, they're getting rid of coupes and even sedans at this point. And so I'm not an SUV guy. It's just basically I don't really want any other car besides this one. So we're in it for the long haul. But like I said, I went ahead and snagged a job at a Honda dealer, and so I can get like discounts on parts and stuff, and so I went ahead and changed the transmission fluid at just under 37,000 miles. Again, I did it at 18,000 miles originally. Of course, that was just a drain and fill, but you know, that's something I like to do. I'm trying to change it every 20,000 miles if possible. So went ahead and did that. I went ahead and changed the cabin air filter and the wiper blades, you know, just regular maintenance stuff. And yeah, and another thing that I did was I went ahead and flushed the brake fluid because this car turned 3 years old recently. But other than that, you know, again, it's just basic maintenance stuff that is part of the maintenance schedule for this car. Nothing else is broken on it besides that headlight, and I'm still really happy with it. Of course, still got the same exhaust setup and everything. So yeah, all the same. Of course, the two-step was provided by K-Tuner. Don't know if I had done that previously. I can't remember. But yeah, that is about it. There's really not much else I want to talk about. That was pretty much everything I had going for this car in the past 10,000 miles. So sorry this video was kind of all over the place. I've been trying to record this pretty much all day because it's been raining. But yeah, there she is. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later.